Hello and welcome to the second episode of Marketing 404.
Woohoo!
Everybody enjoyed the first episode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah? Those 10 followers, they certainly did.
Thanks, Mum.
Yeah. Alright, so let's just dive straight in and look at the content. So today we have the 5 pillars of SEO presented by Joe Edwards, who's sat next to me.
Okay, yes I am. Alright.
Take us away, Joe.
Okay,
What's the first pillar?
Whoa, hold your horses.
Whoa, too fast.
Before we dive in, I just wanted to start with a little disclaimer, and that is that no one really knows how Google works. Not 100% anyway. But if you stick to these guiding principles, Scott and I think you'll do just fine.
So, what are the 5 pillars of SEO?
So the 5 pillars, we've got technical SEO, we've got quality, we've got volume, we've got relevancy, and we've got backlinks.
Yes, we do. All right, so take us through the first pillar, Joe.
All right, so technical SEO. This is both the most and the least important pillar. The most because if you get your fundamentals wrong, then no matter what you do, Google won't be able to find your content. And the least important because things like H1 tags, alt image descriptions, these should really be checklist items for the modern marketer. They're not really differentiators anymore.
Cool. So tell us more about the technical SEO fundamentals.
So what we're talking about when we're talking about the fundamentals is things like website architecture. If you get this wrong, then Google won't know what content it should prioritize, and any link juice you accumulate will be spread too thin. More on link juice later. Site speed. This is pretty important. Scott, you've got a cheeky stat up your sleeve for this.
Very important, actually.
Yeah.
So Google has found that if your site doesn't load within 3 seconds, over half, that's 53% of people will leave your site. So speed it up.
Niche good.
Speed it up.
And another fundamental to be mindful of is whether it's mobile friendly. It's 2020. No, is that what you said? 2020?
2020.
Yeah. It's 2020.
Yeah.
If your website ain't mobile friendly, Google will laugh you out the room.
Yeah, very true. Very true indeed. Cool. So that is the first pillar done. Take us on to the second pillar, which is about content quality.
Great. So to start this, let's ask ourselves, what is the point of Google? All Google really wants to do is unearth and reveal the most relevant content you're searching for. If it didn't, we wouldn't use it. So like your quality score in a Google Ads campaign, Google relies on metrics like average time on page, bounce rates, click-through rates to determine page quality.
So what you're saying is if you write good content, people will spend longer on the page and Google will see that and push that page up the rankings, basically.
Yeah, exactly that. And a good trick, for example, could be to use more video. There's a reason every marketing influencer on LinkedIn uses video. We like it. It's easy to consume and it keeps us on the page. Google likes this.
Yeah, Google really does like that. And it's also really important to be think about who you're writing to. Why would they want to read what I'm writing? And to do that, you need to kind of understand your persona. And we cover that in the first episode. So do check that out. We'll give you 5 helpful ways to build your persona up and write better content for Google. So yeah.
Nice advertising.
Yeah. Cross-sell.
Yeah.
All right. Second pillar done. Next pillar is volume. Tell us about that.
Okay. This pillar, I think B2B organizations are probably guilty of neglecting the most.
Really? Why is that?
I think a lot of organizations expect far too much, far too soon from content. SEO isn't about smashing out a blog post, putting your feet up, then watching the leads roll in.
Takes like 6 months, right?
Yeah.
9 months.
Exactly that. That is the kind of time frame HubSpot have put on building an SEO credibility.
Yeah, and they do amazingly well for terms like inbound marketing. So.
Yeah, exactly that. So just
Have a long-term plan.
Have a long-term plan. Google wants to surface subject matter experts, not people who post content once in a blue moon.
Yeah, I think it's also really important to, as Joe says, become a subject matter expert. Focus on a particular area. Create lots of content. Doesn't need to be amazing, but create lots of content around a particular area, and Google will recognise that expertise. So,
yeah. And a good little mantra for this section is perfection is the enemy of the good. And in the words of Dave Gerhardt, is that how you say it?
I believe so.
Yeah. A good idea that gets done is better than a great idea that sits on your Trello board for 8 months. And couldn't agree more.
Yeah, so write lots of content, keep it focused, doesn't need to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
The second to last pillar, which we're now moving on to, is relevancy. What does that mean?
Yeah, so without wanting to state the obvious, Google wants to surface the content that best answers the question you're searching for. And as users, we're becoming much more conversational in the way in which we use search. The good thing about this is this does open up the door for specific long tail content. So to kind of name drop Scott's first podcast again, if there's a particular challenge or issue your target audience is constantly faced with, write something about it.
And by long tail, we mean sort of
minimum of 5 words maybe in the search. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you write a specific piece of content that addresses a particular issue, this coupled with a couple of the other pillars will be more than enough to appear on the first page for that long tail search query.
And how do you find out what people are looking for?
That's a good question. One, I think you're better placed to answer, because there's a bunch of tools I've kind of observed you using before.
Yeah.
Care to go in a bit?
Tapping away at my desk.
Care to go in a bit more detail?
Yeah, definitely. So, if you're looking to understand more about what people are actually looking for, check out Uber Suggest, check out Moz, Ahrefs. They'll tell you the volume of specific terms. They'll tell you how competitive they are to rank for, and they'll give other helpful suggestions, such as if you type in marketing, they'll suggest inbound marketing, content marketing, things like that. So loads out there to help you. But in the interest of time, let's move on to the last pillar of SEO, which is backlinks. Take us away, Joe.
So backlinks are hyperlinks on an external website that link back to your site. They're by far the fastest, but by no means easiest way to boost content rankability. And each backlink to your website essentially carries a certain level of kudos, depending on the referring site's popularity.
Yeah, and that's measured by, and Moz measures that, and they call it domain authority, right?
Yes, that's exactly that. That is to say, a backlink from a website like the BBC, one with a super high domain authority, would be worth infinitely more than a referring link from a small independent site. And as we mentioned earlier, this process is affectionately known as link juice. There are essentially 3 ways you can go about to acquire link juice. The first is organically, write good content. People will refer back to you as an authority. The next is tactically, and I think, again, Scott, you're probably...
Yeah, quick example on that. So if, for example, another publication references you, they mention your brand name, but they don't give a link to your website, you could follow up with that publication and ask them to link to your site, and that's an easy way to get a backlink.
And the final way you can essentially acquire link juice is through PR. And this is how you'll probably acquire backlinks from higher ranking websites. But a word of caution, don't throw a load of money at advertorials. And what I mean by advertorials is to feature in a publication like The Telegraph, a paid for feature in The Telegraph, because these will carry no follow backlinks. And while they will amplify campaign or content reach, that you ain't getting no backlink juice. No. They got no follow code in there. No link juice for you.
Yeah, all right. Stop you there because our audience is running out of time. Thank you for listening. See you soon.